Welcome back to 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast, a show focused on highlighting the illustrious Prairie View A&M University, the HBCU of Texas, by promoting SWAC and the HBCU experience, featuring your fellow PV Panthers, Roland Austin, Jay Cleasy, Big Mike Washington, three-time SWAC champ Gati Werema, former drum major HBCU band historian Shawnetta Haskell, and Al Williams, driving the show from the Hill. Please subscribe and follow us on social media at 1876 SCP. And don't forget, we do it for the culture.
And welcome to the 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast. We are back for season 5. Bruh, 5 seasons for real? You couldn't have told me, man.
That's COVID time. It fly, man. It go by fast.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, man. We need some 5-year armbands or some stuff, man. I'm serious. Right. For real.
Yeah. A lot happened in these 5 seasons. So we got a couple of folks out on assignment. Shanetta's out on assignment. Roland's out on assignment. Gati is over in Africa on assignment. So it's me, Jay Cleasy, and Big Mike today. So we're gonna hold it down for y'all. Kicking off season 5. So we are hot smack in the middle of recruiting season, basketball season, indoor track season. So let's get it going, man. First, let's talk about some of these early signings, man.
Yeah, man. Early signing day, for those who don't know or not acquainted, you can sign early now. December the 15th, I think, is pretty much the date every year. So Prairie View signed, and Coach Bubba McDowell signed 10 players during early signing day. A bulk of them were JUCO transfers. We had a couple of high school kids. I'm just going to focus on covering the guys I think that are going to be immediate impact players, because that's what it's all about these days. You need to win now. You ain't got time necessarily anymore to develop high school kids, so you cannot fill your recruiting class up with high school kids. They got to be Power 5 transfers and JUCO transfers. So starting off, we got Tavon Alexander. He's a 6'4", 290-pound junior transferring from Kilgore Junior College, originally from Alexandria, Louisiana. I know you PV folks ain't happy about the Louisiana connection, but hey, it is what it is.
I'm glad we still getting them.
Exactly. If you know, you better understand we need them players from the booth. We needed this big guy to come in and replace Troy James and Kevin Victorian. Those two guys were the heart and soul of that front seven. And so they're both gone now. So the focus on recruiting has been to find big, talented, athletic guys to replace the ones that we just lost. I'm anticipating Tavon Alexander to come in and be the immediate starter and contributor on that front four. Freddie Bird, a DB, a 6'1", 185 JUCO guy from Pearl River Junior College, the heart of Mississippi. The Mississippi boys are hungry.
Yeah, Woodville, Mississippi, baby. Woodville. Yeah, don't represent.
Yeah, anytime you can get a 6'1" DB who can run, you go get them. You figure out where you're going to put them and play them later on. But we have holes in the secondary that need to be plugged. I anticipate him to be out there roaming the middle of the field at either free or strong safety, I suspect.
Joe, how about the signing we got from Valley, though?
I was saving the best for last, Mike. But
my bad. I'm sorry.
Mike excited already.
Hey, but since you
Mike just wanted to say Valley.
Valley? We talking Valley?
Go ahead. You talk about that. Caleb Johnson, running back from Mississippi Valley, who ran for what? About 500 yards against PV last year?
11 yards.
500 and some change.
We got him to come over. I don't know. I guess once Coach Dansby put in his letter of recommendation to go up to freeze his butt off in Boulder, Caleb Johnson said, hey, man, I need to find a spot that's not going to fall off where I can put up another 500 yards. It just won't be against Prairie View. It will be with PV. So that essentially he came in and he's replacing Jaden Stewart, who's in the transfer portal. I don't know if he's found a home yet or not, but I suspect his goal was to try to get picked up by a P5. But Caleb Johnson is coming in to solidify that running game along with Ahmad Antoine and Connor Wisham, who was a freshman, got a lot of playing time as a freshman last season. PV had a string of big, huge receivers, and we lost them all like in a span of just 1 year. They all disappeared. Well, they dipped in a portal and went and found another one. Shamar Savage. He's a 6'3", 215-pound wide receiver from Mount San Antonio College, JUCO in California. He was originally a 2-star recruit in 2018, which was his graduating year from high school. On tape, you can tell he's big, he's huge. He looks like Megatron. He's not necessarily fast. I just see him as a possession receiver. Last year, it wasn't highly productive, but JUCO has a limited schedule. He had 14 catches for 357 yards. He had a 25-yard per catch average with 8 TDs, which tells me, he can run deep. He will go up and catch it, I'm sure, over anybody. So I anticipate him stepping in at one of the receiving spots and being an immediate starter. And hopefully his size, he will play up to the size, which is, I'm sure, why the coaching staff brought him in.
Hey, Joe, hold up a second. Real quick, let me pause for a second. If you look at the entire class, it's deep in 3 positions: offensive linemen, running backs, and wide receivers, a few tight ends. What does that tell you that the objective of this recruiting class is?
Get big.
Thank you.
We want to get big.
We need some dogs.
We need some dogs. Now, I wasn't even, so I on my list of most impactful players from the signing class, I didn't even include any of the old linemen because they were 2 freshmen.
Yep.
So one of them is a nice get from Cyprus, but he's like 220. So he's not going to be an immediate contributor. So I'm not even trying to talk about him right now. We'll talk about him when he puts on about 30 to 50 pounds, which, will remain to be seen. He has the frame to do it. But hey, man, we talking about dogs right now when those freshman guys are allowed to get on the field, and we can talk about them. I just don't see him getting on the field anytime soon.
Yeah, I got you.
Another guy, tight end, this offense tends to throw the ball to the tight end, which I really like. We picked up a tight end from Tyler JUCO, Jalen Robinson, 6'3", 240. He can run. He's a good blocker. So I see all those guys as immediate impact guys. Now, if you want to talk about some high school guys, one guy, probably the diamond of this entire class is Traylon Porsche.
Yep.
6'5", 210-pound wide receiver from Beaumont United High School. He's actually going to play football and basketball. He was a 3-star recruit, so by far he is going to be the top dog of this early signing class. We'll see what happens with the full signing class come February 1st. But Traylon Porsche, I don't know if he's going to step on the field day one, but at that size, I'm sure they're going to try their best to get him on the field and line up just a bunch of just big, tall, power forwards at wide receiver.
Yeah, Traylon, he caught my attention, but going back to the offensive lineman, I think you were talking about Jaheim O'Hara, 6'6", but 255 pounds. I'm like, man, you need some mashed potatoes, you need some gravy, or something like that, but highly recruited as well. So so
he looks like a power forward. I think he's gonna have to put on 30 pounds
absolutely
on that frame. Before he can really contend against SWAC D linemen, especially those boys from Alabama and Mississippi and FAM-U.
And the Florida boys.
And not
you better
to
hit that weight room and get the banging and clanging.
So again, I don't anticipate him really being a contributor for another 2 years. But one more guy I was interested in, Traylon James, a 6'3", 200-pound DB. He's a high school guy from Baton Rouge. Boot again. He came from a prep school, so he was under-recruited. But at 6'3", 200, if you're able to play DB at that size, you got talent. So I'm curious to see what he looks like when he gets on the field. But that's early signing day. We got the final signing day coming up February 1st. We will be live streaming from that event. I'm excited to see what that recruiting class looks like. I know the emphasis was going to be JUCO transfer, Power Five guys, portal guys. So we will see if the coaching staff, if Coach Bubba McDowell and the coaching staff were able to pull out the big dogs that we need, particularly on the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, and that's key. This is really their first full recruiting season based on when he was named head coach last year. So I'm glad he was able to, pick some off the table here in that early signing period, because last year, I mean, with the portal being relatively new, if you didn't have them locked in that early period, all the dogs were gone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
They were gone.
absolutely. So
Now, the one good thing is this year, it's over 3,000 kids in the portal.
yep.
If you can't find no dogs
Yeah.
amongst 3,000, and remember, we reduced our GPA requirement from 3.0, which is what it was last signing period, to now 2.5 for transfers. So
I think the portal has created a new position on athletic staffs. You got to hire somebody just to go through the portal with 3,000 plus kids in the portal, and that's just that's just football.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And it has also changed the recruiting philosophy of a coaching staff. Like, you can't just go in and have 70% of your signing class be high school freshmen. You won't win. You'll get your head pounded in. You've got to go in with more philosophy of 60 to 70% of your recruiting class will be JUCO or Power Five transfers, and the rest can be high school guys.
Long gone are the days you can grow it all organically. You gotta go at least 50-50, 60-40 split between organic high school talent and what you get out the portal.
Yeah.
Right. And this isn't like the pros where you got the draft and then you got free agency and everybody has to pick in order in the draft. No, basically these high school kids are going to take whatever's left. Yeah. And it's unfortunate for them, but you're going to see a lot of D1s or a lot of Power Fives at just other D1s. You're going to see some D1s at D2s. And you're going to see some in the NAIA, and they're going to have to develop there and then hit that portal by the time they hit their junior year. So the whole model has changed. So I'm interested to see how this plays out and how this philosophy kind of evolves season to season. So it'll be interesting.
I was surprised, and I don't want to start any ruffles, but in the list that I've seen, I haven't seen in one position, and Joe's smiling. I want to be messy. I'm not trying to be messy, but I hadn't seen one QB.
Hey, that was a source of contention in comedy during the Christmas break. PV alumni basically harassed the coaching staff into offering the quarterback at Westfield High School. It was comedy. You had to just watch it play out on Facebook, bro. It was comedy.
Oh God!
The kid got an offer from Jackson State, and they were like, "Well, hell, he good enough to play at Jackson State. Why the hell he ain't good enough to play at PV?" And he down the street and had connections and ties to PV, and wanted to come, had interest in PV, but he got no offer, no attention at all. And we do need some depth at quarterback, but what people didn't understand was that the coaching staff. Coach Bubba McDowell, the OC, Coach Fredericks, their focus was to bring in a guy with some time on the field, a seasoned guy to challenge Conley from day one. They don't need a guy that they got to train behind CJ Dumas. They needed depth, immediate help at the quarterback position to contribute in that quarterback room. So the Westfield kid wasn't going to be able to offer that, but they ended up offering him anyway to hush PV alum.
And of course, quiet offers.
Yeah,
here go your little funky offer, man. Here go your little funky offer.
Your little ass offer, man.
Social media has empowered everybody.
See? Now, speaking of social media, we can't ignore the foolishness that has gone on over in Daytona. It was announced near the end of the season that Ed Reed was going to be the next head coach at Bethune-Cookman after they had parted ways with their previous coach, and everything was moving a certain way. But then Ed jumped out over his skis a little bit, went on IG Live, and I don't know about you, bro, but it might not be a good idea to go on social media and call your new bosses MFs and saying they got a broken mentality and all this stuff before you sign a contract. That might not be the greatest of ideas. So I think he got it a little bit confused. You know, he thought coming to an HBCU, he was moving into a social structure environment. But bruh, social structure don't happen on social media. We do that behind closed doors. I'm sorry, you're not gonna come in here talking crazy like that and think you're gonna still keep a job. You know, Reggie Theus is the new AD over there, and he ain't gonna be too many mofos.
Yeah.
No, and he showed it. He showed he wasn't gonna be but one.
That's right. So I understand now they got a petition going around.
The players have a petition. Go ahead, Mike. You know, you got some background?
Players have a petition. I heard there's some stuff working behind the background, stuff that's been shared with me that I really can't share on this show, but some things that are working at higher levels to kind of reverse that. I don't know how much that'll happen, but the bottom line is that line has been drawn, and right now it ain't gonna be crossed. I don't care how many petitions have been signed right now. So this thing's gonna have to be settled out at a higher level.
At the end of the day, they still got a board of directors, and
exactly.
Last I checked, that's a private school. You ain't calling the governor to do nothing at BCU.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all. And I hate it. You know, Ed Reed was definitely going to bring in some higher level recruits that they normally would not have gotten. But I had issue with the hiring from the start point all the way to now to his debacle. One, you know, you got these guys who went to the U, guys who went to Florida State, wherever. Yeah, they Hall of Famers, but guess what? Massa say you can't get no job on this plantation. I don't care how many W's you helped us win. You better go over there and find a job. We ain't gonna give you one here. And so, you know, they come to their family, they come back home after they done made the Massa money to try to get a job here. They get the job and they don't fully educate themselves on what the job is, the history of the HBCUs, the reason why there are financial disparities, and the reason why Bethune-Cookman doesn't have all the facilities that the U has. And then you get here and you find out, you know, the weight room don't look the same and the training facility doesn't look the same, and you go to social media to complain about it.
Yeah, how's your first stop IG Live? Come on, bro. Come on, man. Do your homework, son.
You a grown man. You 40 something.
Exactly. Do your homework, man. That ain't gonna fly. I just have a problem when we allow our institutions to become the D League or stepping stones to some of these other programs. No, baby, we want folks that want to be here. You know, I look at Coach Eddie Robinson over at Alabama State. He wants to be there. Coach McDowell at PV. He's been at PV for 11 years, baby. This is not something new. We didn't just go grab, you know, a former player and plug and play. He's been here. So we want some guys that have been here, that want to be here, want to develop these young men, and want to develop these programs. So miss me with all that celebrity worship and bringing guys in with no experience because they just want to get a look so they can go elsewhere. Beat it.
The problem I have is if you read some of the articles in social media, the twist that's put on it, it makes it look like Bethune is the bad guy. You had this thing, well, Edgerrin James was about to bring Shaq. He was about to bring money to it and everything, and Bethune messed this thing up. You got to do your homework, do your research. Look at what really happened. Why was this decision made? You know, and I'm with you 150%, Joe and Al. Just because you played at the U or just because you played here, don't think you can come here and blast HBCUs without knowing the culture and the history and understanding before you put it on. I have a problem with a 40-year-old grown-ass man putting it on blast anyway. without trying. If you're here to bring change, if you're here to really solve some of the issues, then don't go to social media. Don't pull out your best whatever we call Generation X, Generation whatever, and first go to social media. Think before you press send, bruh. Step into the
Yes.
system. Learn first, then start speaking out. Use your power if that's what you truly want to do. So that's where I have the problem with. Is now it looks like it's a Bethune problem. It's not a Bethune problem, dude. Do your homework.
And
Exactly.
so, and what he's done now is what that social media blast has done is people who are not knowledgeable of HBCUs, people who are not knowledgeable of Bethune-Cookman, they are taking his word for it.
Exactly.
They're taking
Yeah.
Prime Time's word for it, and now they're running in the opposite direction of that HBCU that they may have considered before. And that is the harm, the major extreme harm that is being done by this foolishness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a whole lot of HBCU experts that never attended one, never did their homework on one, but they on social media with these Twitter fingers. Yeah, miss me with all of that, man. Miss me with all of that. You go on back to your PWI. Don't come to our homecoming. Don't show up at G-Ho. Don't show up at PV. Talking about, oh, this is like a family. Miss me with that, man.
Matter of fact,
Miss
hey,
me.
and don't come to our grad school either because it's more economical.
How about that? How about that?
Exactly.
When you got
Exactly.
the one of the number one data science programs on the planet. All right. All right. We got something for you. Anyway, we're going to move on. So, also, North Carolina Central, having won the Celebration Bowl, they now have shown, and we don't see the big blast of this on social media, but the donations at North Carolina Central, $2 million since
Ooh,
the
yeah.
Celebration Bowl. I think that was tomorrow, 1 month ago.
A month. 2 mil in a
$2
month.
million in a month. So what's this about? We don't give back to our institutions. What? I don't hear nothing. It's crickets.
Oh yeah. Well, here's
It don't fit the narrative.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you go back 5 years, they just raised 2 million. Well, in March of 22, they raised 1 million. In 2019, they raised 2.2 million during the homecoming. So this Celebration Bowl, while it garnered them some attention, man, this North Carolina Central team, they doing the damn thing. And so for the last 3-4 years, they've been building that cash pile up. So look for them to be a powerhouse in a couple of different areas.
Yeah, I love it. I'm here for it. And I'm here for all these schools moving up to R2 status. And now we got HBCUs looking to get to R1 status. Let's make it happen, man. I'm here for all of that. Here for all of that. I was going to talk about that other situation in Florida, but just talking about them, they ain't doing nothing but giving them play, man. Fuck them. We ain't going to talk about it. So let's talk some basketball, man. I know Gotti is not here, so I want to talk some basketball. Now, the surprise for me, Mike, is the women
Yep.
are sitting at third place.
Yeah.
The men are on the bubble. They're on the bubble for almost not making the SWAC tournament, but the women sitting in third place. What's really going on?
Man, the women have won 5 of their last 6. They went through the West like a hot knife through butter. Man, they after we got all of this, PWI, the FCS schedule out the way at the beginning of the season. That's another story. The way we do that in basketball, especially with HBCU, they rolled off Southern, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and yes, number 1 Jackson State. Oh, by the way, there was a little brawl, a little fight at the end of the game during the handshake. I don't know if you caught that, but
Yeah, don't worry about that.
yeah, there was a little some. I think more was made of it than what it was really about. It was competitiveness. They shaked hands. They squashed it. They put that one to bed. Then they rolled over Alcorn State. Had a loss, 3-point loss to Alabama State, and now they got Alabama A&M, and then on the 28th, Texas Southern. But they are number 3. You know who's balling? You want to know who's balling for the girls here? I give you 3 guesses. No, I won't give you 3 guesses. Her name is Rosenthal. Boy,
Yep.
oh my gosh, she is scoring 17 points a game. She's leading the league in field goal attempts. Or she's number 2 or number 3. It fluctuates. So Rosenthal is balling. So kudos to her. Then they have another player, Miracle Taylor. She's also balling 10 points. She's also averaging about 10 boyfriend breakups a game. That's rebounds, y'all. So this team, I don't think anybody saw this team coming out the blocks like that. The way they finish, but they put a hurting on the Jackson State, that suffocating defense. So
Yeah.
kudos to the women thus far this year. The men, unfortunately, you
Oh,
got
hold on. You can't leave off Kennedy Paul too now, bro.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
been
I'm
getting
Yeah,
sorry.
Kennedy
buckets
Paul
too.
balling.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Kennedy Paul is doing her thing too. So, oh my gosh. So I don't think you had the trifecta expected this year for the women. We knew it, we suspected it, we hoped it, but man, they have stepped up to the mic.
Well, you got to remember they built this team. Coach built this team basically through recruiting high school players. This ain't built off the portal. Most of these girls we've seen since they were freshmen. We remember when Diana Rosenthal came in and Gotti told her she was going to be a dog. And here we go. This is what happens.
Yeah, Diana Rosenthal I've seen her play twice. She is that dog, but they have some other players. You mentioned Kennedy Paul and Taylor, and they got a couple of other folks stepping up that are in the top 10 in statistics, no matter what category. So they are balling.
I tell you what, when Coach Pugh is able to start getting recruit some size, it's gonna be trouble, man. But we are a really small team, bro. I
Yes.
like sitting courtside when you see the girls, the ladies up close and personal. If you my height, you show to be playing some basketball. So uh, I can't. I hope this season continues to grow and roll and will help with recruiting and allow Coach Pugh to continue to recruit some taller players to really get some true size on that team and it would be wonderful to see this team be able to make some runs deep in the Southwest
but
Conference
but
tournament.
but that just goes to her acumen as a coach.
Yep.
She's taking an undersized lineup and she's doing this almost midway through the season. Come on with undersized. And you're right, I'm short too. I'm a little dude, but you got some ballers. I saw Diana Rosenthal play, and she backs down to no one.
Yeah, man.
So
They tough. Jackson State did not see that L coming at all.
they didn't.
No. I think that's what made me really start paying attention. I saw it come across, and because I get the update, and I was wait, is this right?
Exactly. I had to look 2 or 3 times too. I was like, oh, what?
I was at the game. I walked in around the third quarter of the game and not paying attention. I'm thinking about the men's game. And I look up at the score and I'm like, hold up, what's going on? Because no one saw that coming. And FYI, the energy in a Baby Dome early basketball season has been off the chain. Even with school out, people are making that ride down 290, and it's been off the chain for the women's and the men's team.
I love it. Now,
What with
what's
the
going
men?
on with the men, man? I did not have this on my bingo card, man.
I didn't have it on mine either. I mean, you still got Will Douglas getting I think he's third or fourth in the league in the conference at 14, 15 points. Of course, you got Jeremiah Gambrell. I think he's pulling up 12 points a game anyway. But I don't know. You got Yahuza Rasas. I think he's the big forward, I believe.
Yep, he's the big man.
He's the big dude. I think he's making a difference. But they are only 2 games out of first place. There's still so much parity in the men's league. I even though Prairie View is 3-4, I'm gonna be real with you. That 3-4 could easily flip by next week. They've lost a couple. They've lost the last game overtime to Alcorn. Their games against other SWAC teams have been fairly close. So I think it goes to show you that we went into this league saying, look at the number of teams that play well against FCS teams. There's a parity. You got 2 teams that are 5-1, 2 teams that are 4-2, and about 3 teams that are 3-4. That's parity. So I wouldn't say all hope is lost. I think Prairie View just has to come to the game each day. I think what has gotten them sometimes is turnovers and key games. That's kind of hurt them as well. But this Prairie View team is not out. They're feisty, and we saw that against Grambling at the start of the year.
Yeah, I can attest to the turnovers. I was at that OT loss against Alcorn. They had that game tied up, sold up at the end of regulation. They had 2 late turnovers, and Alcorn was able to tie that game up and send it to OT. And then once OT hit, they had a jump shooter for Alcorn who just came out on fire and was dropping bombs in OT. And next thing you know, PV was down by 10. But we should have won that game, and it was turnovers that cost us that game. And then we followed that up with a loss to Bama State. So, but I will give props to the big man Rosas. He is the big skilled guy that we need. He can hit it in the paint, and then he can step out and make a 3 on you as well. And he brings energy. And Gambrell has been the definite leader of the team. He's been the floor general, playing in my position, playing out of position. I don't think he's a true point guard. I think he's a 2, but he's forced to play point, and he's done the best that he can in that role. And Will Douglas has shown, hey, why he was at a not at a Power 5 school, but he was transferred from SMU. He's shown you why he was at a higher level of competition before transferring over to PV. Yeah. He is that dude. He will put 20 on you.
Yeah, and remember about a year ago, I said maybe, I don't know if it's maybe 2 years ago. Will Douglas was a 6-man coming off the bench. He's made his way, and now he is that dude. And the thing I will say about Gambrell, one of the knocks against Prairie View was they needed a scoring guard, somebody to take charge. He was kind of the floor general, the point guard, kind of the dictating, passing off. He's taken over some games and really taken more of the scoring on this year. That's the biggest change I will say about Gambrell.
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah.
The only scorers, in my opinion, that consistent scores are himself, Douglas, and Rosas.
Yep.
And Rosas has started to come on with it, but everyone else will step in sporadically with the scoring, at around 10 to 15 points. But yeah, Gambrell has to play that scoring point guard role, or they just won't. The offense will not put up the numbers you need to put up to compete in the SWAC.
Absolutely. So
there it is. Well, we got about another month before that SWAC tournament rolls around, and we need to put ourselves in that best position to look to take that tournament title, man, because it's gotten away from us here in the last couple of years. I'm kind of used to wearing those, title hats. I got a collection going, and it's a little dry for the last couple of years.
Them t-shirts.
A little dry.
Yeah, where them t-shirts at?
Yeah.
Hey, we're fortunate that TSU is having a rough season.
They are. Yes,
they got the talent. Like, what is going on over there?
I don't know. TSU is sitting at 2-5.
2-5.
2-game win streak though, coming in this week, but 2-5. They are struggling.
And we go to their house this Saturday, the 28th, I believe.
The 28th, yes, indeed. Yep, so that, but records go out the book. What I'm really looking for is the cheerleader battle part 2.
Okay.
Oh my God!
You got to remind them, Mike, from last year.
Man, the cheerleaders met at half court. Right, and they did a dance off, cheer off, and they were getting attitude with each other. The ref had to step in and take them and pull them apart. And then they bought their, dude who's a flipper, and he snaps. So Prairie View got theirs, and he did so many flaps. Well, TSU said, we got one of those too. So they bought him out. And, it was tit for tat. Everything you do or got, I got, or I can top. But man, and then they got just edgy the whole game. They really took over the second half, and the ref had to really warn them, "Hey, you need to get the yo corner. You need to get the yo corner." But man, that was the essence about an HBCU basketball game. Yeah. I'm looking for round 2.
PV4L.
It's the culture, baby.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
man. So,
All right. That'll work. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with the We Ready shout outs. All right. So we got some We Ready shout outs. So let me just start off. I want to give a shout out to my oldest. He didn't finish at PV. He started at PV, but he finished up the street at TSU. Shout out to Joseph Williams. If you seen our intro, you heard that We Ready shout out music. He produced all the tracks that we use on this show. So shout out to him. Graduated with a 3.5 coming out of Texas Southern in finance. So 06, young bruh.
06 to the young brother.
06 to the young brother.
He was ready.
He's ready.
All right. Anybody else got a shout out?
I got a shout out. If you've been to the last couple PV home basketball games, you noticed a completely different atmosphere, particularly with the intro of the players. Well, we got a light show going on. It's like a Houston Rockets intro basketball game, and that is all due to DJ Cruise Control, aka Chris Williams. Brother Williams has really stepped up the game. Atmosphere, environment at the basketball games. The players absolutely love it. Like when the players come in for their intro, they looking at like, man, this is nice. You can hear them say it like, this is nice. They really appreciate being treated the way a D1 athlete should be treated. And so they really appreciate it. And if you take a look at the PV Panthers website, the athletic website, it's completely redone.
Yep.
It's actually functional. Well,
Yes.
Chris Williams also had a hand in restructuring the website as well. So check out pvpanthers.com if you have not. Chris Williams, he has stepped in he's a extern with the athletic department. So he's come in, PV alum, coming back to the campus, bringing his time and his talent. Chris Williams, appreciate you, bro. You ready?
Yes, sir. You ready?
Yeah, you ready, baby. All right. So I got a ready shout out. So the HBCU campaign fund, I don't know if you've seen it on the website or whatever. They released its annual 10 most dominant HBCU leaders and award class. These 10 most dominant HBCU leaders in award class are recognized each year. Well, according to the founder and president, CEO Demetrius Johnson Jr., the 6th selected group of leaders have proven, their responsibilities beyond measure. And I won't get into all of the hoopla, but I'd like to recognize this year's honorees, retiring presidents, Dr. Cynthia Warwick, president of Stillman College, and the one and only Dr. Ruth J. Simmons, president of Prairie View A&M University, who just recently stepped down. So they've been honored for their trailblazing efforts in education and the support of HBCUs. So let me just say, they're ready.
They ready. All right, Shanetta ain't here, so I'll try and take us out of here. First one for 2023. Let's get it. PV. You know. Hey, we all right.